Lisa Tomaitis on the other side. She has great Olympics experience as the former head coach of the Canada women's national team. A full house on hand at O2 Arena, ready to see the United States as they continue that build-up for a pursuit for an 8th straight gold medal, an unprecedented run. And as they win the tip, Sarah, it bears noting they're the only team in the Olympics that you'll see wearing the red uniforms. That is specifically for the United States women's senior national team.
They are a special, special club, John. I know we're going to get into throughout the course of this broadcast, but what they have accomplished, the streak that they have, is something that is extraordinary and deserved of a uniqueness in how they show up here and step on the court.
Coming off an amazing showcase of women's basketball on Saturday, that three hoisted and good right on the gates. Diana Taurasi, the GOAT, sets the tone.
You said it here at O2 Arena in London. These fans have had quite the shows to witness last night. Official sellout attendance, 19,177. That's a record for O2 Arena, the highest attended basketball game in London history. Between the men's side of USA and Germany, we're talking about Diana Taurasi, what she has done in her career in international play. LeBron James continuing to look like he's fresh at it, and so is DT right out of the gates. Quick with the trigger, knocks down the three-point shot. A leader in so many different capacities for this group, and as the torch will continue to be passed for so many talented players on this roster, Wilson being one of those.
With Diana Taurasi, the United States in the Olympics 38-0. That three off for Germany. Leonie Fiebisch. That's a beautiful dish to the corner. And what a sharp start for the Americans. Terrific ball movement.
Great job with early offense, space on the floor. We've talked a lot about the offensive threats and the talent that they have, but it's the chemistry, the fit in how one another gets used to playing and how they want to run under Cheryl Ruth.
Off that Brianna Stewart three, Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson led the way against WNBA All-Stars on Saturday.
What a pass here. No look by Taurasi, gets it to the second side, straight across court, allows for Stewart just to step right into that catch and shoot rhythm three-point shot. That's a big part of the balance into and how they want to play. And you had mentioned that game in Phoenix, the first tune-up on Saturday against the WNBA All-Stars, some of the best players in the world as well.
Stewart with the turnaround, she is fouled.
And so these moments matter. There's these players coming in rhythm of playing basketball, being in shape, so many of them with their WNBA action, but getting used to one another, playing at this level, the stage that the Olympics are, it typically takes some time. So I know that Sabrina Ionescu talked to all of us yesterday, just in some capacity, about being intentional in practices to work on that chemistry.
Let's talk about Brianna Stewart, four-time national champion, the UConn GOAT under Gino Auriemma, and then coming here, #1 pick in the 2016 NBA draft with the 31 points on Saturday night. She told the press, hey, we needed this. This is a good tune-up for us as Germany is on the board. We'll propel off this. She's embracing now, Sarah, being the leader for this team.
She's been here before, and that's a big part of it. Is you kind of look at her resume. We could probably fill the entire broadcast with her resume and so many of these other players, but this is an opportunity. She already has a gold medal under her belt. But how can they get another? You see Wilson with that great basket right there, but how can they continue to grow together as a unit? And you mentioned it in that All-Star game, 31 points, 10 rebounds, didn't walk away with a win. I think that just speaks, though, to the level of talent that exists in the WNBA.
Now off the turnover, here comes Stewart. Brianna Stewart with the right hand, can't finish. Just two build-up games for the United States women. Got a great test against the WNBA All-Stars. That's terrific ball movement for Germany. And there's Niara Sabally.
Member of the New York Liberty.
one, hit every part in the rim and bounced in. A'ja Wilson.
Gets her right back at it. That's where Wilson, there's so many ways that she is so tough on the floor, but to be able to go right into the body of a defender like Sabally, soft on her touch.
Corner three, Germany executing their offense early. That didn't fall, but some high percentage looks. Was something Cheryl Reeve told us yesterday. She said, look, we gave up 117 Saturday. We know we can score. Let's focus on our defensive principles in this final tune-up.
And there's some really solid players here. Germany making their inaugural appearance in the Olympics. Came down to the wire in their win against Brazil for the qualifier, a 73-71 win.
Shot clock down to 4. Peterson, that's Alexis Peterson. Unable to connect, and here comes Chelsea Gray. Great ball movement for the Americans. And Nafisa Collier finishes it off. A timeout called by Germany.
Big focus for a lot of reasons, and a big part is that it allows you to get it going on the offensive end. Done just that. Gray to Wilson. We've seen that connection so many.
5 straight wins dating back to that bronze medal game in '92.
Unreal. John, when you really sit and think about it, do not get numb or overlook just how challenging that is. The level of talent, the level of skill, but also that competitive nature that exists with this team.
It was a shutdown at first. A'ja Wilson now providing defense.
I think that's why when you see the reactions that these women have about being able to wear these jerseys, be able to wear USA across their chest, why it means so much, because they know the rich history and they know the rich tradition of players that came before them and laid this type of foundation.
Shot clock at 9. Leonie Fibish, who has spent time in the WNBA, getting picked up by the Liberty.
I'll tell you what, John, just before the WNBA break, for the Olympic break, got a chance to call the Connecticut Sun New York Liberty game in New York, and Leonie Fibish has been tremendous in a rookie season with the Liberty, and you're going to see it translate here in a huge way of why Germany is here. Throughout the course of those 3-game qualifiers, averaged 18 points, more than 17 rebounds. Just a big key added, an important part of this Germany team that the USA will face when they get over to Paris in their Group C action.
Brianna Stewart short. But Sarah, it's such a whirlwind to get to this point, and now to have the opening ceremony on Friday. These women were in Phoenix on Saturday. Now they're in London. How much do you credit them in the way that they're playing together out of the gates?
Extraordinary. Go down the list of all of these players, and the USA Basketball Committee chaired by Jennifer Rosati, of course, a former member of the national team, her rich resume at college and the WNBA, USA coach. But they all understand the goal is to win gold. They will say that constantly. So everything they can do, whether on the practice floor, together off of it, on this court.
A'ja Wilson is extraordinary.
They know what they are working for, and the tremendous play that we've seen out of all of them throughout the course of the WNBA season will hopefully translate. But it is not easy given the actual schedule, the logistics, and also what that means to come together as a team. A'ja Wilson, she can do so many things on the basketball floor with her size, her skill, her quickness, face-up ability, the moves and the footwork to precision. It's amazing to think about what she has already accomplished, just 27 years old. Talk about a lot of these players' resumes, but A'ja Wilson this season, it's amazing to think that she's continuing to raise the level of her own play and doing so for her teammates year after year. Credit to the work that she keeps putting in.
Great effort by Alexis Peterson, the foul on Plum. And to think that A'ja Wilson, as Plum will come off the floor. And here comes Sabrina Ionescu in her first Olympics this year.
Yeah, there's a little bit the right forearm of Kelsey Plum on the shove.
How cool was that video off the top of our show? Hearing and seeing the players' reactions to when they got selected to the United States national team. Sabrina Ionescu as emotional as ever.
She knows what this means. She's got a whole litany of records on her resume. I know we're going to get into what she did at college in Oregon with the New York Liberty, all of those things. But John, as she spoke with us yesterday, knowing what it means to reach this point and one of the many dreams and goals for all of these players.
We'll show you more of her emotions in a little bit. Sabrina Ionescu in her 4th year, a 2-time All-Star, now 3-time All-Star after this weekend. And an amazing college career, over 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds as Wilson travels. But she brought up a great point, and this goes back to what you were saying about the chemistry of this team. She said, when greatness combines, when all of us come together, it's amazing in this time in women's basketball how much respect there is and how much love there is for the game, that when all those brains and the skill sets combine, it's really special. That's a beautiful move to the rim. Lisa Geisel-Solder for Germany.
To your point, John, because you may be playing different roles than you do.
Wilson again.
He's automatic. So good in how many places and areas on the floor she can score, but maybe playing different roles or have different responsibilities on this United States national team that these individuals do for their WNBA team or otherwise.
All 3 of these for Satu Sabally.
Satu Sabally, the Dallas Wings, and another proud member of this German national team. A big reason why they're here. I had mentioned that game that came down to the wire in the win over Brazil in the qualifier. She had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, does a little bit of everything.
That is just picture-perfect ball movement for the Americans.
It's exactly what you want to see. Ball on a string, the balance, the spacing, everyone game complementing one another in the areas on the floor they can score.
And Jewel Lloyd with the triple to get herself on the board. Lloyd of Seattle out of Notre Dame gets it back. Jewel Lloyd, not this time, but Ionescu with the offensive rebound here. On an island, here's Wilson. Brianna Stewart. Go back to Germany. Fisa Collier checks back in.
But this is the amazing part when you're looking in, I know for Cheryl Reeve and this coaching staff, and also a stacked coaching staff with Kara Lawson, Joni Taylor, Mike Thibault, figuring out rotations and combinations when you do have this amount of talent on the floor, finding the fit, who plays well together, whose positions and whose skill sets best complements one another. But every time there's a substitution, you see the new players coming in and you understand just how powerful as a team they can be.
Nice ball movement by Germany. Miss on the bunny here, a tie-up and a jump ball.
Fisa Collier, player that Cheryl Reeve very familiar with the Minnesota Lynx. They're having a tremendous season thus far, and Collier a big part of that. We've got Cheryl Reeve coming off the Coach of the Month in June, helping the Lynx to a 10-2 record.
Cheryl Reeve says Collier just does every little thing you ask of her. A dream to coach. Germany keeps it off the jump ball here, and they turn it right over. Lloyd corralling. Here come the Americans on the break, ahead of steam. Tough drive. Thomas could not connect. What a moment this is for Germany, for the Sabally sisters. To think, as a country, they've never been in the Olympics in women's basketball. This is a historic moment for their nation.
Without a doubt, the opportunity that they have to experience that, and go without saying, this even having this opportunity here in London and what this means, this exhibition game against this United States team, and talked about the quickness that this tune-up will provide for the United States.
Jewel Lloyd showing off her pull-up game.
But Germany has had an opportunity to have some more exhibition games through the month of July. Had the likes of playing Finland, Portugal, Poland, Puerto Rico, Nigeria, Great Britain, game that was suspended. But so they've had a little bit more of an opportunity to try and come together and play together, though without the Sabali sisters.
At 3 long, and that does it for our opening quarter. The United States, with just 3 days to the opening ceremony Olympic. She's 42 years young, the oldest woman in USA basketball history to compete at the Olympics.
It's extraordinary. It's hard. We can talk a lot about accolades, accomplishments. Goodness, 5 golds. All of those things don't even do justice to the leader that she's been, the presence that she's had on basketball internationally because of who she is and her passion for the game.
And swishes home for Leonie Fides.
Knockdown three-point shooter. You got to keep an eye out for her, especially at 6'4", the way she can stretch the floor. But yeah, I mean, it is truly amazing to think about what Taurasi has accomplished and the fact that she is second all-time in United States basketball in scoring.
And look who's in the house. Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, sitting courtside. The Americans getting tested by Germany yesterday. And then that guy named LeBron took matters into his own hands.
LeBron James, the things we're saying about Diana Taurasi, what he has done, even through the course of this exhibition play. And it's not just to say at his age, just in general, flatly unreal.
Ionescu with a hard drive. Back to Sabrina Ionescu. He's short, but another extra opportunity for the Americans. And a turnover here. That was something Cheryl Reeve prioritized in the build-up to this game. She said, we've got to take better care of the basketball. That's a Euro step. The putback doesn't go either for Niara Sabali.
And it is going to be a lot of those little things for the United States team of making sure, taking care of the basketball, not beating yourself.
That's Kalia Copper, who's checked in to start this second quarter.
Checks in and scores, does what she's been doing all season with the Phoenix Mercury, over 23 points per game. She's been fantastic. But that's it, John. And you look, though, at the inefficient shooting for Germany. Foul there by Thomas on Sabali, but a big part of that has been the connectivity on defense, what Cheryl Reeve has asked of this team coming out of that first, call it an exhibition game, but first game at WNBA All-Star out in Phoenix, locking down at that end. It'll open up so much for how the United States team wants to play in transition, playing fast, getting their break started early.
Niara Sabali of the New York Liberty steps to the line, 5th overall pick in 2022. She's gone through some injuries, so it's great to see her out there.
Yeah, I mean, number 5 overall pick, as you had mentioned, and she was out 2 years ago as she was rehabbing. She missed their first 2 years as well while she was at Oregon. But while she was out, she was an assistant coach at Sacramento State, just wanted to stay around the game. You've seen her now starting to come back here with the Liberty, 11 games so far in the first part of the season. The skill, though, is there. Anytime she is on the floor, has opportunities, you understand the way she can impact a game.
Germany packaging a couple stops together.
I think the important thing to remember, too, when you're watching the United States team, again, this is an exhibition game.
As that one falls home for Niara Sabali. Back-to-back buckets for Germany. They're within 8.
There may be a little bit of an awe factor for some teams when they first start playing against the United States national team.
Joel Lloyd with 3 early J's.
Big shot because of the star power, because of the names, because of who they're facing. Once they settle in, get some of those nerves out, that's where, you got to make sure you're just as sharp. If you're running, whether you're running your sets, you're blocking out, the defense that you're playing, the things that you did at the early part of the game, making sure to maintain and sustain that, especially when you get over to Paris into Olympic play.
Into the hands of Alexis Peterson, a former ACC Player of the Year at Syracuse with 3. Peterson got tripped up by Ionescu.
You've been talking about it, Niara Sabali. You got the sisters working. Peterson can't get it to go, but it's Niara staying with the play, does a great job at the quick putback. Excellent on the glass, good anticipation offensively. She can stretch the floor, play a face-up game. A lot of the same things could be said about Satu when those two are on the floor together. We had already mentioned this, both these teams in Group C. They won't face one another until the final game of group play on August 1st, or August 4th. Joining them, Belgium, Japan, but a little bit of an opportunity to get a first look at one another before playing for real.
Backdoor left wide open. That's perfect ball movement by Germany. Lena Zontag with the finish.
And that goes back to the concept we talk about. A lot of these teams have had time together, so they've had time to create connections, create understanding, a familiarity with one another, and you start to see that with a team like Germany. This great ball movement, quick on the cut, attack on the inside. No one drops down to help off the block, and that's a clean-looking layup.
That's right, Germany in the pre-Olympic qualifiers in February beat Brazil to get them to 2-1 in pool play, a 73-71 win in which Leonie Fibish and Satu Sabali were the stars. Their first Olympic, shot clock down to 2. Jewel Lloyd is long. So winning in dramatic fashion in February to get to this point. Now in the same group as the U.S., the Americans will open up the Olympics July 29th, 6 days from now against Japan. Turnover by Sabali. And for Lisa Tomaitis, not her first time in the Olympics because she comes from coaching the Canada senior teams. Another turnover here. Fibish all the way. Down to 7. How about the fight of Germany in this second quarter?
They're going to, that's what I mean. They're going to keep coming at you. There will be a resiliency. You're going to see this from all teams. And that's why for the United States, not beating yourself. Some of these miscues have been a little bit careless, not paying attention, whether it's off the turnovers, whether it's some of the missed defensive assignments.
Brianna Stewart is fouled.
Leonie Fibish, she's got the length, she shoots the gaps, and she's quick at the other end. We saw her knock down the three-point shot, gets it on the layup in transition. It's not been a huge part of Germany's game, but I have already mentioned that she's got a great level of comfort in her first year playing in the WNBA for the New York Liberty. She had spent the previous 4 years playing internationally, so she's got pro experience this year for the Liberty with some injuries. She's had quite a lot of opportunities to get some starts, shooting nearly 38% from the three-point line.
And the Liberty 21-4 on the season.
Not bad. Not bad, Johnny.
What does Gino Auriemma say about Brianna Stewart? In every sense, and when he says this, you know it's serious. He says in every sense she is a winner. That's a runner that a little bit off for Alexis Peterson, but they get an offensive rebound here, and Jewel Lloyd snatches it. Here comes Lloyd. She's been sizzling early, and she'll go in the line after our timeout. The Americans getting tested.
That's on the court, that's off the court. She is just an extraordinary human being, and she cares about that. She cares about being a role model, what she does in terms of how she can continue to open doors for so many others.
Asia Wilson was in the 8th grade, and her dad said, Asia, it's time to put your skills to the test. You've got to get out and do something, do an activity. So she picked up a basketball. She didn't really love it. At first, she was just the water girl on her team. She was handing her teammates water bottles. She said, I kind of like just being the teammate. Then her team finally won something. And she said, oh, I like this feeling, and I want more of it. And she says she hasn't stopped since.
She has not stopped. And I think that's a part of it. I also toss in the fact that she also has a book. But to share that type of love and experience, and you see it too in the way we're talking a lot about these WNBA teams that these players are a part of, back-to-back champions in the Las Vegas Aces, MVP. Oh, she was gonna pay us off right there with another basket. Keep talking about her, but you see the love, you see the camaraderie, and you see the care factor, and that is what makes the leader that she is. It's not just about her extraordinary performance on the floor, but it is how she's able to truly bring out the best in others. And it's a beautiful thing to continue to watch, and that's why she is one of the greats of the game for so many reasons.
We were talking to her yesterday, and when she had her 12th birthday in 2008, the theme of the party was an Olympics theme. So all the young ladies invited to the party, all her friends were representing different countries, and they had the Beijing Summer Games on, and they played Wii Sports all afternoon. She said, I was born for the Olympics. I had a 12-year-old Olympic-themed birthday, August the 8th, which, how ironic is this, Sarah? That's when she won her first gold, Tokyo 2020, August the 8th.
Unbelievable. All full circle. And you see that for a lot of these individuals living out their dream.
Great defensive sequence now by Wilson. That's just it. She doesn't just do it on one end of the floor. She's been a WNBA Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, also her own shoe.
Yes.
Now I keep thinking of all the things she has. Of course, her signature shoe just being released, but that's the fun part to watch this team, because everyone's coming together with a stacked resume. Everyone's coming together, having accomplished and won in so many different areas and so many different facets. All of them understanding. Chelsea Gray, add that to the list, a huge part of what it will take and how she will continue to be such a key cog, and how she runs the point guard, what she has done for the Las Vegas Aces. Everyone, though, knowing what the ultimate goal is and what that will take in terms of sacrifice.
Traveling violation. That'll give it back to the United States. You think about all the resumes of these players, and yet there's no feeling like getting selected to your country's team. Those emotions that we saw at the top of our show, getting that call to say you will represent the Stars and Stripes. You will wear these red uniforms, which are exclusive to this team. Wilson off another offensive rebound. Brianna Stewart.
And really, when you think about that, John, I mean, even the first-time Olympians that you have in Sabrina Ionescu and Kalia Copper and Alyssa Thomas, combined, they have 12 All-Star appearances in the WNBA. So this is a collection of high-level talent. You're taking a look there at Cheryl Reeve. We had mentioned Kara Lawson, the fact that you've got an assistant on staff who has already won a gold medal herself with the national team in 2008. She was the head coach of the 3x3 Tokyo Olympic team in 2021 that won the gold, which also included Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum.
With the press earlier this week, and she said how much of an honor it is to play for the United States and suit up for her country after getting wrongfully detained in February 2022. Everything that she's been through, Sarah, a whirlwind of 2 years. And Brittany Griner just said, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful to be representing this great country and going for gold again. 30 points in Tokyo 2020. That's a gold medal game record to lead the Americans to gold.
We are so thankful to see her wearing that USA jersey, to be a part of this team, to be on the floor, to be representing the national team in Paris.
As Brianna Stewart finishes and the lead back to 16. A pull-up three swishes home, and Germany comes right back.
Germany's hanging around, and you already mentioned it. They will be resilient. They will keep competing hard against the United States. We've seen it, and that's, quite frankly, especially in these exhibition games, that's what the United States is looking for, that type of competition, that type of push, the continued opportunity to learn.
The bank open for Stewie. Brianna Stewart with 13.
You see she's got a big smile on her face. But the continued opportunity to learn about some of the areas of weakness, the spaces that they need to work on together and collectively as a group.
Satu Sabali showing her game. Sabali, the Dallas Wings star. That's a tough crossover. Gray off. Wilson just willing her way. Asia Wilson can't connect. Geisel-Solder with the rebound. Foul on Taurasi.
Brianna Stewart, extraordinary. Little give and go in transition. Beautiful finish this time. We know she can knock down a three-point shot. She's just showing a different way to go about it. Big smile on Stewie's face after that banker of a three-point look. You had mentioned it, John. Gino Auriemma talking about her a winner in every sense of the word, in every way. And that's the truth, and it's not just about winning. It's about leading. It's about how she does it, both ends of the floor, the complete package that she brings to the table on the offensive side, but adding that defensively.
And one as tight of a WNBA MVP race that you'll ever see, with Alyssa Thomas of the Sun, and of course Asia Wilson in the mix with her last year, and Brianna Stewart won the honor. That's another tough drive and finish. Alexis Peterson.
She did. I think Asia Wilson, she's about as far ahead right now in that MVP race as one could get this season.
And the answer by Chelsea Gray from downtown. Sixth triple of the half for the Americans. Wilson and Stewart have combined for 23. Shot clock trimmed to 8. Another pull-up triple, and that sails home. Leonie Fibish from downtown.
Her greatest strength.
Taurasi connects.
And she goes right at her on the defensive end, then in Taurasi identifying a quick look right there. This is a nice pace to the game as we're closing things out.
3 seconds here, and a foul. And that puts the United States in the penalty. Chelsea Gray didn't like that. She knew it.
Diana Taurasi showcasing some strength, finishing through contact. Little bump off of Fibish as she gets that lay-in to go. Final bucket here as we start to head into halftime.
Give me a brief synopsis what Coach Reeves should tell her team at the break.
Well, I think there's still going to be a lot of discussion on the defensive end. Germany has made some runs here, but overall you like the movement in both ball and body by USA here early on.
A 12-point game at the half. The United States with one final tune-up, but their Olympics opener just 6 days away. Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson with a combined 23 halftime.
Players being a part of USA basketball in some capacity. Sabrina had mentioned that since the U16 team. Kelsey Plum, we know, was a winner along with Jackie Young in the 3x3 Olympic team, led by one of the assistants now on this USA squad, and Kara Lawson. These moments, they do not take it for granted, no matter how much they have accomplished throughout the course of their professional careers or basketball careers. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to have the first taste and first opportunity to be wearing that uniform to represent your country.
What's so cool is that for Sabrina Ionescu, her time representing the country goes back to 2013 with the FIBA America's U16 championship, then the U17 World Cup. Each years and years of doing different things with USA basketball and then get to this point. There's a real journey there.
And I think that's about the foundation that is laid to understand that, who you play with, how that grows and expands your game. Even playing international basketball, we talk about that often on all sides of things, of the international rules and just the way the whistle blows and how that looks like, getting more accustomed to that. A lot of these players had that type of experience and also playing internationally, but for everyone, it's a big time opportunity. And I know they all remember their first opportunity at it.
Brianna Stewart kicks it back out, and they capitalize. Chelsea Gray with the 7-3. Gray 2 for 2 from downtown.
So much of what the United States has gotten has been predicated on their spacing, their ball movement, making extra passes. This is an unselfish group, that we know. But the reads and the coverages of the defenses they continue to survey and pick apart, a lot of that begins with an individual like Chelsea Gray, so accustomed to that.
Brianna Stewart, special drive and finish. It's like she slowed the game down there in the lane. To 15 to lead the Americans. Catch and shoot three is off for Sabali. Gray with a no-look dime. And Wilson is fouled.
You mentioned it with Stewart. Just a little bit of a hesitation. Beautiful Euro through the lane to get the finish right at the gut. Everyone else staying attached because you have so many weapons to shoot on the perimeter. And that's what you'll continue to see with the offense of the United States team, because you have three-point shooters just littered around the three-point line. Opportunity for so many players to be able to not only knock down a three, but attack, get inside the lane. That's where their quickness and pace and decision-making really comes to fruition and is evident when you watch the amount of places on the floor that they can initiate offense.
Whatever Cheryl Reeve said at the half, the United States has come out and propelled this lead to 19 here. That's a stuff by Wilson, and a foul is called.
And honestly, John, because this is it. This is the second exhibition game, and then it's on to Paris. And there's not a whole lot of other time. They're going to head to Lille in France and get set to begin group play. You've already mentioned this, the first game on July 29th against Japan. And from there, they're off. And it's all about the realness of what the Olympics mean. And you see that in the coaching staff, and just, again, we can go down the list of the resumes of all of these players, but the biggest part is how they come together, and you can't overlook it, the ease of that, just because of the skill level of each individual.
Cheryl Reeve joined by Kara Lawson, Joni Taylor, Mike Tebow. As Taurasi is off on the triple, and they get an extra chance here. But you can't touch it once you've stepped out there, and Collier tried to.
I know, both her and Stewie kind of walking the tightrope there on the balance of it. You love the hustle and the activity.
Kara Lawson was on the gold medal team in 2008. That's a tough drive, and one. Alexis Peterson with a nasty move.
You said it, and she struggled a little bit from the field. That's just her fourth point. She was 1 of 7 prior to this, but is hard on the attack. The cross cuts through 2 defenders, amped up, and the passion, and that's the point. This USA team will have a target on their backs. We've talked about the fact that they've been undefeated since '92, since it all began in '76, 72, and 3. They're looking for their 8th straight gold medal. So no doubt these countries will come with extra motivation when they're facing this United States national team.
Every time they step out on the court, they're going to get the opponent's best. 55 straight Olympic wins by an average of 29 points. There's not a streak like it in sports.
And the fascinating part, too, is just how it's all come together.
Beautiful ball movement. Stored to Wilson and one.
Quickness and decision-making, extra passing. You see this off the gates with a beautiful pass by Chelsea Gray, and then Stewart hooks it. The seal by Wilson. Everyone making themselves available to their teammates. But in us talking with Val Ackerman, of course, the Big East commissioner, she was former president, the very first of the WNBA, and what it meant when everything got started. We see this year-long break for the WNBA because of the Olympic Games, and everything was laid in the foundation of the tour that began in 1995. That was before the '96 Atlanta games, and of course the start of the WNBA itself.
Could you believe the amount of games that they played on that tour? 52.
52 games, and you look at Olympic dominance, this is what we're talking about, the consecutive nature of it. And you mentioned it, 52 games. They did it to get themselves set, to build chemistry, to have continuity prior to that 1996 Olympics. And, you know, it's been extraordinary since then. They haven't had that type of luxury, though. And obviously, they get this month-long break from the WNBA, and counting on the fact that these players, of course, are in a rhythm, in a shape for playing. But the continuity that comes with it, the chemistry, that's something that, you know, hasn't necessarily been a part of it. They have still found a way to be extraordinarily dominant, but it's all been a part of the evolution and the progress, not just of the WNBA, but of women's basketball. We've seen the amazing boom and burst, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the exposure, all of it. It's continued to grow, and it's on the backs of a lot of women and a lot of individuals to get to this point.
Satou Sabally, the Dallas star in the WNBA, now representing her country. First ever meeting between the United States and Germany. This Germany's first ever appearance in the Olympics this year. Lead back to 15, and that's a travel. And speaking of all that dominance, one player that's now looking for a 6th gold and still hustling, Taurasi.
Oh, it's a beautiful look at a lot of players. He's continuing to be in the action, saving a possession, trying to save a possession there for USA.
After all these years, Sarah, she still goes after everything. 42 off the window, and good for Luisa Geiselsolder. She's been an X factor for Germany in this game.
She's going to be. And with her size and her height, she can stretch the floor. She can attack you in the basket. She's 6'5". She had played at Oregon State. Remember watching her throughout the course of her collegiate career, now 30, so has spent some time since then playing internationally.
Now a turnover. Sarah, it may be Germany's first Olympics. You would never know based on what they're showing right now.
And again, that circles back to a lot of continuity they've had in having exhibition games throughout the course of this month. And you see the seal here. Quickness in the turn, good footwork there by Geiselsolder against Brianna Stewart. We know what type of defender that she is, but just does a good job utilizing those few extra inches.
Sandra Wilke checking back in. And an extra opportunity here for Germany. Stop and go, and that goes off the knee of Satou Sabally.
It'll be interesting to see. We continue to talk about the ways in which USA's come together. Part of that is figuring out lineup rotation combinations. Kelsey Plum checks back in to this game, and interested to watch if Wilson drops another one. A lot of the reserves now may get a little bit more time, a little bit more run for the United States as they play their final exhibition game here against Germany before heading to Paris.
On 3 women's team in Tokyo 2020, now on the 5-on-5 United States team.
So that's why it's a different experience. We keep mentioning reactions of these players, and I remember seeing when Las Vegas Aces, of course, they do a great job with their content team, seeing her reaction of being selected to represent this 5-on-5 team and be a part of this United States national team. She's going to be a huge piece of that. 2-time WNBA champion. Overlooked that little miscue there, but it's the fun part of how this roster fits together and the scoring nature you have of different players fitting different roles, what they'll need, pending personnel, pending matchup, who they're playing, all of those aspects of the team. But big kudos for Plum being a part of it and what she represents, and doing so in such an extraordinary way, as you had mentioned, with the 3-on-3 team, along with Jackie Young, and be coached by an assistant coach now with this 5-on-5 team, and Kara Lawson.
Shot clock down to 10. Harassing defense by Plum. That's a tough shot. It falls. Leonie Fibish again from downtown. She's got 11.
Learn her name. It's going to be a big part of this Team Germany when they do get to the Olympics, and already has been, not only with the national team, but with the Liberty in her rookie year.
Just like that, they can get to 10, if not 9. Satu Sabali off, but Germany, every time the United States begins to pull away,
give them
punch
credit.
back.
A resiliency, but some of that, again, comes off of a few of the miscues and turnovers by the United States. In some ways, just making sure that they handle and take care of their own business.
That's a nice give inside. Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun has just checked into the game.
And a great pass by Plum, feeding her, finding her over the top.
And now that pass picked off by Brianna Stewart. Thomas on the break. Cheryl Reeve, we asked her, what do you want to see today? She said, progress. Still have another quarter to play, but you said it, this is very important for this team.
It is, and it's, I'll be honest, I think it's another big shot by Germany. Geisel Soder has really been putting on a bit of a show here.
Wilson answers. Asia Wilson has 19 and 13. She has been the leader.
Can run things through her with how well she scores in so many areas on the floor.
Plum with a give to Thomas. She's come in, Alyssa Thomas, and injected some energy to the United States. She and Wilson scoring back-to-back buckets. Timeout, Germany.
Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun, been such a big-time part of what they have done, and Kelsey Plum doing a great job finding her. You look on the inside, good little dump. This time another no look on the left block. Feeds her 22. She had triple doubles back-to-back in games 3 and games 4. That's the first time that had ever happened in WNBA history. A first-time member of the Olympic team. She is, though, a 5-time All-Star. She was the EuroLeague Defensive Player of the Year in 2023. She was the 2022 Comeback Player of the Year. But that's what it's about for her at her size. I mean, really the true essence of a point forward. I remember calling Suns games for many years, and she talked about the fact that she tried to model her game, which is easier said than done, but LeBron James and the concept of scoring, of rebounding, of being a threat in how she passes and handles the ball, how you can facilitate through her. So you know what an honor that it is for her to be wearing the red, white, and blue, but also just the uniqueness of her skill set and how that can help impact what this team does.
That's what Cheryl Reeve told us yesterday. She said, we just have so many Swiss Army knives off our bench that we can go to for different skill sets. There's a foul here that will send one of the bright stars for Germany, Alexis Peterson, to the line.
Been great. We had mentioned this earlier. She had a decorated career at Syracuse quite some time ago. She is from Columbus, Ohio, but has been playing internationally and has been part of that Maccabi Nadashdad team, and so for her, just that type of savviness. And you imagine too, 29 years old, 5'7", something to prove, and something to prove when you're playing against the United States national team. That's something that a lot of players have had, and we've seen a resiliency here out of Germany. They've been showcasing the chemistry they have with one another, but overall for USA, there's a level of dominance just because of how many different players can come in and impact the game.
Foul away from the ball on Geisel Soler. Alyssa Thomas all smiles here as she's checked in late in this third quarter and supplied contribution. Ionescu, Plum, Wilson. Collier on the floor for the United States. A near turnover. It'll stay with the Americans with 7 on the shot clock. These are always fun situations to simulate here in your tune-ups.
Without a doubt. And we're seeing, as I had mentioned, Kelsey Plum getting some of her first action here in this second half. Same goes with Jackie Young, who's now on the floor. Copper getting a little bit more time.
plumb. That is a tough shot. Here in this final minute of the third, Germany can cut this back to a dozen, if not try to get to 11. Give
good
it
defense
right back.
there. Denial by the United States. We have talked about it with what Cheryl Reeve is looking for in terms of making progress, and part of progress begins on the defensive side of the ball.
Americans have forced a dozen turnovers. A pop stop and a jumper. Jackie Young knocks it down. With 8, here's Peterson. One of the stars for Germany, Alexis Peterson, stop and go. That was pretty. Germany's got some star guard play. A heave to beat the horn, and that'll do it for quarter number 3. A 14-point game powered by Asia Wilson, leading the U.S. with 19 and 14.
Who else? And doing it on both ends of the floor. Monster block on the defensive end.
The women from the United States and WNBA scoring leaders here that are on this team. 8 of the top 10 in the league. And you notice one there, Arike Ogunbowale, who was the star of the USA WNBA All-Star Game Saturday night. 34 points, all came in the second half.
MVP, that's what she does. She is a bucket, and it's why the WNBA is the greatest league in the world, and for so many of these players. So when you talk about a tune-up and the fact that the WNBA All-Stars did beat this national team 117-109, it just showcases the level of talent that exists in the W, which is absolutely extraordinary. But yeah, Ogunbowale was tremendous. That's what we've come to see and expect from her. But I also think that's why, you know, as the tune-ups begin, that was the best competition that this group could have had an opportunity to face, to take a look at the film, where they need to improve. I know Sabrina talked about this yesterday in terms of just having a great practice following that up, because they understand they need to be intentional. They need to build chemistry. They need to see the areas that they want to look at. And Coach Reeve talking about just looking for progress here as this goes along, and taking a look at the film and then celebrating some of the stuff that we worked on and how it gets better. And hopefully after this exhibition and this round, they will see those things, and it will continue to show itself in the improvements.
Yoni Phoebish is off. If you're just joining us, this is the Americans' final tune-up before the Olympic Games. U.S. will open up Olympic play 6 days from now against Japan. Germany in their group, so these two will meet. As Sabrina Ionescu dials it up from downtown.
The fun part, too, of watching this team, there's so many opportunities for different actions, different sets, what the group is looking for at certain parts because of the players and threats you have at different moments on the floor. And you're already starting to see that in some of the ways in which the United States is creating its offense off of set plays and actions.
Alexis Peterson's gotten the crowd oohing and awing a couple times. Shot clock violation. There's the United States defense off this from Sabrina.
Yeah, so has Ionescu. You look right there, just stepping into it, catch and shoot. She has been lights out through the latter part of that first end of the WNBA season, and it's what USA is coming to expect from her, along with a lot of other characteristics.
Seven on the shot clock here. Thomas gives it off to Stewart. It's a travel and a turnover. You talked about the team meshing. Here's one thing that stands out after 3 quarters. 5 players have at least 3 assists in this game for the Americans, up to 22 dishes.
That's a big number. Not only just about the way in which it's spread out, but also the fact that there are 22 assists on 24 field goals, John. So 22 on 24. If that doesn't tell you just how this team wants to play and the methodical nature of making sure they're finding one another and doing it and playing through the pass and ball movement.
For a team that's been together, give or take 120 hours total. One big thing is they're all in great conditioning shape because they're in the middle of their season. Ionescu off, WNBA going on a break, and Ionescu with the extra effort is fouled.
Looks like Niara Sabali grabbing at her arm or went down pretty hard.
Asking for a foul. Glad she's okay. Back to Sabrina Ionescu at the line. We showed you her emotions getting selected to this team for the first time. The only NCAA player to record at least 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds when she graduated from Oregon. A legend. She said what was so rewarding about getting named to this team, Sarah, was that she would get to play with Taurasi. She said, Diana's the standard. The fact that I get to call her a teammate, never thought that that would be possible in my career.
Big part of this dynasty. There's a lot that have laid the foundation of the table, but that is a huge, huge part of it. And there's things you pick up. We always hear about this in terms of Olympic play, World Cup play, just being a part of this team with so many individuals that have accomplished so much to what you learn. And that's, you know, whether it's the bus rides and whether it's the nights that you're just hanging out off the court practices in the locker room and watching habits, showing up, shoot around practices, what different players work on. That's why you see so many people working together and working out with one another in the off season. But that's how you grow your game. That's how your game evolves, both collectively but also individually, in seeing some of the greats and the habits that they form and have created, and how you can in some ways really work that into what you do in your own routines.
That's a block from behind and a foul on Young. Between all 12 players on this United States team, when you combine junior competitions, AmeriCup, World Cup, and the Olympics, you get a combined 51 gold medals.
That's a lot of gold, Johnny. It's a lot of gold.
It's a lot of gold.
There's an expectation. There is an expectation, and that's where it begins. But that is not to say that it in any capacity is just a given, and that it has not been a bunch of hard work poured into it by everyone in every step of that. And that's why we had mentioned just kind of how things started and where it began, and the launching pad for the WNBA that really began with that 95 tour and into the Atlanta Olympics in 1996, and what that meant for the team and the sacrifices that were made to get to that point.
Off the dribble. Jewel Lloyd's got that game.
Yeah, I feel like every player we're talking about on this team just mentioned them being a bucket and how they could score, and that's a big part of, look at the three-level scoring nature that Lloyd, of course, brings to the table.
Phoebus can't connect on the three. All these players champions in some way. Lloyd, a two-time WNBA champion. The Seattle Storm, that one off, and here comes Germany. Peterson's been a real bright spot for Germany in running the offense. Shot clock at 10, that's a tough J, and it's short. I think Germany can do some damage in the Olympics.
I think they can. I'm interested to watch just how they can continue to improve. And the one thing they bring to the table is size and a stretchability. It starts with the Sabali sisters, both in Satu and Niara, but also Leonie Phoebus. We've been saying her name quite a bit, how she can stretch you out and knocking down the three-point shot. They are in Group C, as we've already mentioned, with USA. Won't face them till August 4th. But see Belgium there on July 29th to open things up. Japan on August 1st. The fact that Lisa Tomaitis has the experience of Olympic coaching with the Canadian national team. And then, of course, there's your schedule for the United States, starting with Japan on July 29th, Belgium, Germany. The medal rounds begin on August 7th. It's a mission. It's a mission for a Cheryl Reeve coach team who she was an assistant the past 2 Olympics. So she has got that type of experience and just feel to go along with it. And of course, all of those things matter. I know in talking with her yesterday, just what that meant and having this opportunity, being at home in New Jersey, her mom's house, and getting a call in a place that she grew up with the high school at. So you want to talk about full circle and realizing a dream, that is it.
Satu Sabali nearly put home a great finish on the other end. That one off for Thomas. Stewart pulled down the rebound. Cash. Jackie Young of the Aces.
One of the tremendous young players of the WW and for the Las Vegas Aces out of Notre Dame. 26 years old, has already won 2 WNBA titles with that Aces crew, but has been a majorly impactful part of it. Once again, Breanna Stewart quick with the offensive rebound to find Young out on that 3-point line. And we keep bringing up the assists for this team now. 24 on 26 made shots. That's a part of it, just quick in their surveillance of the floor to find open teammates.
Collier can't hit. 24 assists on 26
Those are
makes.
big-time numbers.
Yes, it is. And that's shut down. Now Stewie showing her defense. Leading us to a timeout, the Americans. United States women's team, the most dominant that you'll see in the Olympics. 55 straight. United States putting on a show of their own, up by 21. Jewel Lloyd making her presence known.
It's been fun to watch Jewel Lloyd throughout the course of her professional career, even collegiate career. Already has a goal, looking for another one, and helping this United States team in this exhibition game against Germany before they get to Paris. And what you're having an opportunity to see is the compliments of how well she can score from the 3-point line, off the dribble, excellent intermediate game, and she's got a slash ability to get to the basket. Familiarity, of course, with Breanna Stewart after spending a lot of time there with the Seattle Storm. She was the #1 overall pick for Seattle in 2015. Still playing with the Storm, with a 2-time WNBA champion, one with Stewie those 2 years in 2018 and 2020. This brings a great presence to this United States national team.
And an absolute star for Muffin McGraw at Notre Dame. As tie up there for Breanna Stewart. So 4 minutes and change to go. This is it for these two teams before they head to France for the Olympics opening ceremony Friday. United States will meet Japan 6 days from now. Tangle up in a turnover. Japan, Belgium, and Germany in the U.S. group. These two teams will play last in the group stage. No look dish. Jackie Young fed it off to Alyssa Thomas.
Nasty. And it all started with a great defensive play by Napheesa Collier. That's why there's a lot of names that I think everyone is really familiar with in a Breanna Stewart or an Asia Wilson. Of course, Diana Taurasi, but get set for some high-level talent like those individuals who will play a major role.
Peterson way off. Coach Reeve told us Napheesa Collier is the most underappreciated player on our roster. Sabrina Ionescu. And another offensive rebound. And another United States triple.
So you see the knockdown from Jackie Young, who made all those plays happen. Napheesa Collier off the break. Nice screen set for Ionescu. Then comes up with an offensive rebound, finding Young on the wing. It's all about the little things and appreciating how this comes into action. Jackie Young, what a great no-look off the penetration to get it inside. She has been an extraordinary player throughout the course, not only also playing at Notre Dame, her collegiate career, WNBA career, someone that oftentimes I think when you mention players around the league that have just been supremely successful, she is one of those early in her career, but so much of it is sometimes just the little things and the ways in which she's able to impact a game
Shot clocks at 3 here. Nebisch just off, but an extra opportunity here for Germany, who's put up a good fight in this game. Catch and shoot for Wilke.
And just not enough firepower, I think, for Germany. Also, obviously, very hard to slow down USA.
Wow. Alyssa Thomas has shown her full arsenal in this fourth quarter.
That's where she could be best, in transition, coast to coast. Can get the rebound, can handle it, can finish at the other end.
You said it. Can come at you in waves.
And it's tough. It's tough to, even when you're making some runs. I mean, we think about it, the Germany team getting down, resilient enough to try and come back, but you're still cutting back into deficits that are double-digit scoring deficits.
Alyssa Thomas, Sarah Kustok.
She is tough to handle, especially when she gets it going in transition, on the push, ball in her hand, going right through the defense, circus finish. And the United States has had it cooking, almost up 30 here as we close things day night. Then last Saturday, the WNBA All-Star game against the All-Stars, coming over here to London, having an opportunity to play these exhibition games. And this team, both teams actually, will get set to leave for Lille, France, as they open group play in Group C on July 29th. And so it's a whirlwind. It's something that these individuals do not take for granted in terms of the experience, but there is a lot going on and a lot happening. Again, not to mention the fact they have just hit the meat of the start of the WNBA schedule. So those were also compacted. The beginning of the WNBA schedule compacted because of the month-long break for the Olympics. So more than ever, the run of the games and the frequency of games being able to play. This is the first Olympic year that the WNBA is playing a 40-game schedule. So for all of those reasons, it's a lot on these women, one that they welcome, they embrace, they are thrilled and excited to be a part of in 4, but there's a heavy load on the schedule.
Sabrina Ionescu. An 8-point showing, but Sarah, it feels louder than that from her overall today.
High level of efficiency, a threat on the floor. That's why for each of these players and the balance that you can create offensively, it's because everyone has so much gravity. And we continue to talk about the little things. A player like Collier, just the random screens that she sets, how she frees up her teammates. Kalia Copper, a player just now 6-7 minutes of run so far in this game, who averages more than 23 in her W season. So the type of firepower you can also bring in as reserve units and off the bench. And another steal and opportunity here, thanks to Sabrina Ionescu.
Germany's first group play game will be against Belgium on July the 29th. And the United